Hey guys, so in today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about how to convert your leads into customers and what to do with your leads after they've submitted your Leadformly form. So unlike some of the other tutorials that we've done over the past few days, in today's tutorial, we're actually going to be focusing on some tools and techniques outside of Leadformly. So what to do with the leads after they've already submitted your Leadformly form. So in some of the examples we're going to go through today, I'm going to be using the CRM and automation tool that we use at Leadformly, which is Active Campaign. But a lot of what I'm going to show you today, you can set up and you can use in whichever CRM or marketing automation or email marketing tool you're using. Virtually all of them will support the kind of things that we're talking about today. So don't worry too much about the specific things that we're setting up. It's more the kind of the overall strategy and tips that I want you to take away from today's tutorial. So what I want to do is share with you 6 tips that I've personally found have a very significant impact on increasing the likelihood of converting your leads into customers. At the end of the day, we all want paying customers. While increasing leads is very important, it doesn't mean much if we're not converting those leads into customers. So that's what we're focusing on today. So the first tip I want to give you around converting your leads into customers is to follow up with all of your leads quickly. There's a really fascinating study that was published on the Harvard Business Review back in 2011, which concluded that you're 7 times more likely to to qualify a lead if you respond to that lead within 1 hour, as opposed to if you wait for more than 1 hour. And that drop-off is very, very sharp. If you wait for more than 24 hours, you're 60 times less likely to qualify that lead. And so the real kind of key lesson here is that leads turn cold very quickly. So we need to be responding to all of our leads ideally in less than 1 hour from when they contact us. So how is this possible? At the end of the day, we all need to sleep, we all need to eat, we need to go to meetings. It's not feasible that we can manually respond to all of our leads within 1 hour. So the solution to this is to use marketing automation. As I say, we use Active Campaign to do all of our automation. Marketing automation, in simple terms, if you're not familiar, is basically a way of saying, when this happens, do that. So you're basically setting a trigger and an action. When someone contacts me on my website, I want to send them an email 20 minutes later. So what I'd recommend doing is using these kind of, whether it's Active Campaign or Infusionsoft or Pardot, Marketo, whatever software you want to use, set up a rule that sends an email to all of your leads about 20 to 30 minutes after they inquire through your Leadformly form. And my recommendation here is to not send a kind of one of those emails that say, "Thank you for getting in touch. We'll be in touch shortly." What you want to do is to make this first email sound not like it's specifically been written by you, but you want it to be somewhat personal. I'd recommend something like, "Hi, contact name. Thanks for getting in touch with us. I'd love to have to chat more about your project." And then maybe include a link to, if you're using like a calendar scheduling software, something like Calendly or Acuity Scheduling, give them a link to actually book in a consultation or a time to arrange a call with you. And that way it sounds like it's personal, but it's obviously automated. It frees you up of your time. So the second tip that I want to go through and recommend is to make the next step a no-brainer for your leads. When your leads contact you, a lot of times I see companies, the follow-up email or the follow-up call is asking for too much. I recently contacted a company that as soon as I contacted them, the next message was asking me to arrange a meeting with them to go and talk about my project with them. And in this instance, this was for a web design project. In this instance, I didn't want to, arrange a meeting with them and have to travel into London just to be, at this point, I didn't even know if I wanted to work with them. I was still kind of trying to understand, is this right fit? And so what I found to work much better is when you make that next step for your leads really, really simple. One thing that we did at Venture Harbor, which is the kind of consulting side of what we do, is we trigger an email that just said, "I just wondered if you could tell me a little bit more about your current challenge and what you'd like to achieve." So this is a really, really simple call to action. People love to kind of talk about their businesses and their challenges. And so this just made it really simple. There was no friction. We're not asking for any more sensitive information. It was just a really easy next step that people could take to kind of move the project to the next step. So the third tip, and just as a quick example, this is an example of an automation rule combining the previous two tips. So this is an automation rule where we wait for 20 minutes and then we send an email asking someone when's convenient to talk. And as you can see in this email, the next step in this example is very, very simple. We're just asking someone to schedule a call using Calendly, I believe, which is the software we use. So this is a good example. I'm not sure if you can see this okay, but this is just showing a very, very basic automation rule where we're responding to leads automatically with a simple follow-up. So the next tip that I want to cover in how do you convert more of your leads into customers is to score and prioritize your leads. Too often, I see many companies will treat all of their leads the same. They'll, get 50 leads coming in a week, and their sales team will phone up every single one of those leads. And this is a really bad use of time because obviously, a large proportion of those leads are just not interested. They're not ready. And a few of those leads are going to be really ready and, very high priority, valuable leads. And so it's really important to score your leads so that your sales team, or, if it's just you or a small team, whoever's in charge of converting those leads into customers can focus their efforts on the leads that will have the biggest impact for your business. So one thing that I recommend doing is to split your leads into 3 buckets. You've got cold leads, marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads. So what does this mean? So cold lead is just a lead that has come through your website or through any means. This is kind of just where you throw everyone that comes through. A marketing qualified lead. So this is a lead that has shown some degree of interest in your company. So perhaps they've visited your pricing page. Perhaps they've attended a webinar. How you want to define that is completely contextual to your business. So a marketing qualified lead for us would be probably very, very different to a marketing qualified lead for you. But this is basically just a way of separating out the leads that don't engage with anything, any of your content versus those that are engaging and look like they're showing the signs of being a promising lead. And then the third bucket is a sales qualified lead. So this is someone that has the budget, they have the authority to move forward with your company, they have a clear need. So you've kind of vetted that this is someone that is very likely to actually need our services and be able and willing to move to the next step. So if you're using a CRM tool like ActiveCampaign, this is really easy to set up. You can just build a set of rules. So here you can see this is how we score leads. You can do things like every time a lead opens an email campaign, you give them 1 point. If they visit your pricing page, in this instance, we're giving them 3 points. And then what you can have is, so this I think is a score out of a maximum of 20 or so. And what we do is we say whenever a lead has more than 7 points, any combination, we consider them an MQL, a marketing qualified lead. Sales qualification, again, is a very similar process, but we're looking more for things like, do they have enough, in our instance, do they have enough web traffic? Are they in a country like the UK, US, where most of our customers are typically based? How many employees do they have, etc.? So you're just looking for all of the signs of, is this someone that we're likely to is likely to be converted into a customer? If yes, let's label them as a sales qualified lead. And then in your CRM, you can automatically define your leads as cold, marketing qualified, or sales qualified. And then your team can then focus, okay, we need to turn more of our marketing qualified leads into sales qualified leads, or we need to, just focus our efforts on following up with the sales qualified leads. So we found that extremely valuable and a really, really powerful tactic for just being more focused in which leads that you focus your efforts on. So following on from that, the next tip that I want to give you is to not waste time on time wasters. A lot of leads are not worth your effort. They're not, at the end of the day, if you have a sales team, you're paying your sales team a salary. You don't want to be wasting that budget, or you don't want to be wasting time on leads that are very, very unlikely to, to ultimately become a customer of yours. And so again, this comes down to a very similar point. If you're using lead scoring like this, it's going to be very easy to know which leads are time wasters. If you're not using a lead scoring system like this, I would try to find some method or some kind of perhaps using the criteria, how people are responding to questions in your Leadformly form, identify what are the signals of a time-wasting lead, and then you can actively maybe put those leads to one side and have them nurtured automatically using emails and something that doesn't require too much effort or time on your part. So the fifth tip that I want to share with you is to give before you ask. So there's a really amazing book written by Robert Cialdini called Influence. And Robert Cialdini studied what are the kind of different triggers and things that influence a person's behavior. And one of the big kind of takeaways that I took from this book is the idea of reciprocity. One thing that I'd recommend and that we found very, very useful is to just give everything that you know, like we're doing here right now. There's within your company, there's obviously going to be a lot of expertise and skills, and I'd recommend just giving that to your leads, giving that to your customers, because it creates this sense of reciprocity where people are more likely to want to kind of help you and give back. And this is definitely true in your sales process, even before people have signed the contract or choosing to go ahead with your business. If you're constantly giving them, whether it's white papers or resources or education around your field, it's going to trigger that reciprocity and increase the likelihood of the person ultimately choosing to go with your company. So the final tip that I want to share with you is to automate as much as you can. Now, this is an example of one of the automation sequences that we use to nurture leads and follow up with people that enter their email address on their website. It might look a little bit scary, but really all this is doing is saying things like, if someone hasn't responded to us in 6 months, but then they visit our website after 6 months, maybe drop that person an email just to check that, maybe they might be interested in looking at Leadformly again. So it's just kind of automating all that follow-up that it's almost sort of, if you imagine the kind of thought processes that a really good salesperson would have, thinking about when a person is thinking about buying. This is just kind of taking that thought process and turning it into a sequence of emails that will get triggered to the right person at the right time. So using whichever software, CRM automation software you're using, you can build these kind of sequences that just make sure that you're always checking in with all of your leads. Because at the end of the day, someone who signs up on your website today might not be ready today, but they may be ready in 12 months' time. And so having these kind of automated series of emails going out and kind of checking in with your leads, you never know. It's very, very possible that someone who is only a cold lead today might become a marketing qualified lead in 6 months, and then a sales qualified lead in 9 months. And so taking that kind of long-term view, building processes around it, very, very powerful. So I hope that's been useful. In tomorrow's tutorial, we're going to be looking at how to analyze and optimize your form. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to be going through some of the different reporting features in Leadformly, as well as some models and frameworks around how you can optimize your conversion rates. But yeah, hope that's been useful, and until next time.